Oh, this is going to be a fun one today.
I had to give you a flourish.
He's come to the dark side. We have a guest. He's back, Stephen Roy Clark.
Last time I saw you, I was in television.
You were in television.
I was.
Now you work at another radio station.
You know, you say that like we're competitors, but we're kind of like we're neighbors, really.
Yeah, we are. But I don't see you ever anymore.
Well, no, because you work nights, I work mornings.
Right. But it's just funny how it started. It's just all started right here. To be honest with you.
It did. Well, quite literally, because I was on this show here right before Christmas.
Mm-hmm. 2 years ago.
2 years ago. And we were sitting here, and Tim Roberts, T-Rob, the boss.
Yep, the big
was
boss.
sitting outside, and you were wondering why I was here. You thought maybe you're getting fired?
Only one he was ever at.
I know.
Period. To
and
this
you're
day.
thinking he's here to fire me. No, he was here to hire me.
That was the day.
That was the day he hired me.
So it was.
I had no idea he was doing that because I was retired. I was done.
Yeah. And then now you got hired the last time you were on the Homegrown Happy Hour, and now you're returned today.
Right.
As a member of 104.3 WOMC, congratulations on
Thank you
getting
so
that.
much.
It's been a while since we've talked, really.
Yeah, it has.
But I'm sure there's a lot of questions that people want to hear, and I'm going to get to those.
Okay.
So first off, are you still enjoying it? Are you having? It sounds like you're having a blast.
You know, I love doing radio because it's positive. And the reason I left television, quite frankly, Frank, was that it was very negative. Every night I'd go to bed thinking of all the terrible stories I put people to bed with that night. You know, the shootings and the murders. I mean, it was just like, I was just literally getting depressed over it. And so I went in and just said, you know, I've done 40 years of this television thing. It's not what I got into. We're not really telling the stories that uplift people anymore. So I said, it's just time for me to move on. So now here I'm in the mornings doing radio, and we're telling nothing but good news. We don't even touch.
Your job is to brighten people's days.
Exactly.
Wake
We
up.
don't touch the negative news. We don't talk about the bad stuff. We just look for the positive things going on in this community. Good people doing good things. We talk about it, have fun with, and there you go.
And it sounds like you're having a blast too.
Other than getting up at 4 in the morning. Other than that.
I'm still awake. I can come start your show up if you want.
I did 40 years of television where I'd get off work at midnight.
Right.
And I'd go home and I wouldn't go to bed till 3 in the morning. So now here I am getting up at 4 in the morning. My body still, after a year and a half, does not know what to do with that.
That's how I felt yesterday, actually. At Faster Horses, got to be out there at 11 a.m.,
Yeah.
which isn't that late.
Well,
but for me, it is.
Yeah, yes.
So I was so worried that I was going to show up late. 'Cause that's a 2-hour drive for me on top of that.
I know.
But one of the first things you did when you got that job, I noticed it because I had to laugh. First order of business for Stephen Clark when he started working at 104.3 was get a guitar in that studio.
I did. I hung a guitar up on the wall there. The funny thing about that guitar, it is literally the only thing, absolutely only item I own that I had before I got married.
Really?
That's it. I've owned one thing. That was that guitar, and somehow it has survived my wife all these years. Everything else is gone. Every single other thing that was mine is gone.
Now, I know you don't miss being on the news. Didn't sound like it, at least. Does your wife miss you?
No. I think, well, first of all, when we met, I was actually doing morning news. And she thought she had, met her perfect match because she's a morning person. And then, I did morning news for about 3 years, and then I didn't do it again ever. And the day I left morning news, I never got up early again. I am not a morning person. So now she's kind of like, I've got my husband back. Except for a nap all day.
Let's not say that it's fake laughter and smiles on this.
It's mostly kind of real.
But I just thought it was cool to get you on the show because we've been friends prior to you even getting that job in radio.
I used to stop by at night over watching you at the studio, so I must have had a thing I wanted to get into radio.
Yeah, you were so happy to talk about it. I could tell you were jealous. I'm just kidding.
No,
you were going for my job.
I still, matter of fact, I call the boss up and say, you know what the job I really want? I want that nighttime job over at WYCD. That's the job I really want.
Well, we can switch because then my schedule still doesn't really have to change. I'm still awake. I'll just drink a lot of coffee.
And you can work with Joanne
5.
Purton every morning. It'll be fun.
Well, here you came to play some songs for us, though. We'll get back to that maybe in a little bit. But let's hear the song that started it all because, before Homegrown here at Music Town even started, I used to do it in the studio at WYCD. And
I did this song.
And it was, I believe it was the night, unfortunately, that Mike Ilitch had died.
I think you might be right, and that news kind of came in after this and stuff like that.
Yeah, and you had to call me and be like, "Hey, I might be a little late, or I can't come, or something like that," and you still showed up.
Yeah.
But you're wearing your suit, you're wearing your news attire, and I was
it
was very intimidating. I was very nervous for that interview.
All right, well, here's the song that, and I'll tell a story after this song, which is pretty fun.
But this is the one that started it all. This is More Jim, Less Jack.
Yeah, More Jim, Less Jack, and this is a true conversation my wife and I had. Well, she had the conversation. I was trying to watch TV. But she was saying I ought to do something about my physical fitness. and she had many suggestions about what I could do about my physical fitness. This was one of them. I didn't take it as advice, but I did take it as a song title. So here it is. It's called More Gym, Less Jack. And by the way, Jim is spelled G-Y-M. Keep that in mind. And I need your help. I'll explain how you can help, okay?
Okay.
I got a fondness for concoction from Lynchburg, Tennessee. Makes me feel like Schwarzenegger, but I still look like me. So here I am at the Planet Fitness. Hey, don't judge, 'cause I'm putting them down, picking them up. Spend more time pumping them up, less time knocking them back. Gotta give up those 12-ounce curls if I want to get a six-pack. Trade in my 80 proof on a brand new pair of tennis shoes, and I'll take them one more time round the track. More Jim, less Jack. That's where I'm going to need you next time. When I say more Jim, give a little pause and say less Jack.
You're buying lunch, right?
Okay, as long as it involves Jack. Yeah, I wish it was a pill, 'cause this is going to kill me before I get in shape. At least I'll look real good when they put me in the grave. Well, I'm racking up the miles, but I'm not getting very far. At this pace, I'll never make it back to the bar. Spend more time pumping them up, less time knocking them back. Gotta give up those 12-ounce curls if I want to get a six-pack. Trade in my 80 proof on a brand new pair of tennis shoes. I'll take them one more time around the track. All right, get ready. More Jim,
Less Jack.
Perfect. Now I'm going to rap.
Oh.
Because this is country
You
music,
don't need
right?
you don't need help with this part, do you?
You can if you want to do a little
I don't
scratch
want-
for me, like, beatbox or something.
Spencer, get over here.
He's going, really? This is country music, so everybody's rapping these days, right?
Right? No kidding. Get down.
Well, I finally found the secret. It's going to let me keep my Hercules physique. 'Cause all the booze and the food and the late night crew making me weak. 'Cause my friend's going to miss me if I give up whiskey before I have a heart attack. But I can't deny the secret to life. More Jim, less Jack. Yeah. Spend more time pumping them up, less time knocking them back. Gotta give up those 12-ounce curls if you want to get a six-pack. Trade in my 80 proof on a brand new pair of tennis shoes, and I'll take them one more time round the track. Yeah, I'll take them one more time around the track. More Jim, less Jack.
Hey! I didn't totally butcher that.
And look at that, you even got Jack's Donuts on right there.
Right?
So that's not the Jack I'm talking about.
Less Jim, more Jack.
Yeah, well, that's what
How about that for a plug? I don't even think they're in Michigan, but
More Jim, less Jack's Donut. That'll
right?
do.
There you go. That's your next single. But that song actually kind of blew my mind because you came to the station that one night and played that, and I wasn't expecting any drinking songs from you. And
Try to expect not a drinking song from you.
right, that's how I came to know you as the anchor who closeted wrote drinking songs.
Well, you even said, do you have a drinking problem? And I said, no, I've got a drinking song problem. And then you inspired me.
Really?
Yeah.
With that right there?
After that line, I went home and I wrote this song. I got a drinking song problem, Margaritaville on my mind. Too much blood in my alcohol level from 2 more bottles of wine. Fill up my red Solo cup from that keg in the closet. Make another beer run. I got a drinking song problem.
I want a special thanks in the
Thanks to Frank Williams Jr. for that.
Well, I'm sure you know this weekend was Faster Horses.
Yes, it was.
Missed you this year, though.
I went last year, and it was a great time, but primarily because I had a couple friends, a guy named J.T. Harding, who is just a monster songwriter from Michigan, who lives in Nashville, and he's written like Sangria, Somewhere in My Car, Somewhere with You, Bar at the End of the World. I mean, he's written a bunch of monster hits, and he was out there doing a songwriting thing. So I went out there to kind of hang with him and another guy, Lee Thomas Miller, who's also a friend of mine, and they ended up getting me backstage. Now that was a riot.
That's really cool.
Yeah, hanging out with
That's
the
more of
stars.
a perk than even I got, Steven.
Well, the funny thing is our boss, Tim Roberts, comes walking back, and he's got all the passes on and stuff like that, and he's going, I'm backstage.
What are you doing
What are you
here?
doing?
Where's your badges?
Badges? I don't need no sneaking badges.
Your chain of badges.
So I've been, needless to say, I didn't have any friends there this year, so I didn't go.
Well, how much would you say friends like that have influenced your music?
I'd say a ton. A matter of fact, JT, I think about every other word he says is a hook. So he'll say something, and I'll write a song about it.
I can see where you take after that.
Yeah. So it's no. To me, I aspire to be a better songwriter, and every time I think I'm pretty good at it, I run across a guy like JT Harding, and I go, oh man, I still got work to do, because they're just so good. So that's why I live in Nashville part time, and I go down there and spend about a week a month at my place in Nashville, and I just hang out and I write and I play shows.
You said a week a month?
About a week a month, yeah.
And you do morning radio?
Well, there's a little secret. I have a studio in my office, in my apartment. I can sit in Nashville and be on the air here.
Do you think Tim will let me do that?
You can use my studio if you want.
Well, I mean, I just in Warren, where I live, just...
No, he won't let you do
just
that.
Just forget that Southfield commute. Forget 696. I just... But the three-year-old goes home for the day, and I
there you go.
Sit in the back room and do a radio show.
No, I just it's been really, really good, the ability to do that, because that's in Nashville. You gotta be present to win. You gotta be there, and you gotta meet people, and you gotta network. So that's what I spend all my time doing.
Does Joanne find that difficult, though?
You know, it's weird. I mean, you've done radio long enough. I don't know if you've ever done a two-person show, but when you're conversing with somebody like we are right now, we can see each other, we can talk, and you know, and so forth. What we do to combat that is we go on FaceTime. So we both have a computer sitting right in front of us, watching FaceTime. Now, there's a slight delay because of technology in what we see and so forth, but you know, we can see each other's facial expressions.
And that
what
helps
we're
a
doing.
lot.
So helps a ton.
Oh, that's really smart and cool.
And in fact, the boss has walked in on days not knowing I'm not there. And he'll say, where's Steven? And I'll go, down here.
On this phone, this tablet.
So, I mean, it must be working. So it is tougher because you have to really pay more attention.
Well, the fact that you guys, that's a testament, because you know how Tim is. He's very, very particular with his talent.
Yeah.
So for him not to know that you're not that's cool.
It's been a real good bonus, and I really thank Tim and WOMC for letting me do that.
Absolutely,
because it really is. It's helping me in my music career, which is eventually to write a better song and eventually get, you know, a Tim McGraw or a Kenny Chesney or a Chris Jansen to sing that song.
Sure. How often did you play that guitar in the studio while you're there?
I rarely have time in the morning at the studio to play it. I mean, when we hit that show running, and it's just like we don't have time.
Right.
Everything is just it's just the next event is coming up, and we're getting ready for that. So there's not a lot of. You think they were kind of just sitting around like chatting, and I hope that's what you think. It's what it should sound like, is that we're all just like having a good time sitting around chatting. It's a lot of work. We're like ducks, you know. Up on the surface, it looks calm. Down below, we're like pedaling like hell.
You got 3 minutes to figure out what you're going to say. That's all kind of rehearsed before you go live.
Yeah,
well, little bit.
We make a lot of it up on the fly. But
well, that's like the thing with like me and you. When we go through the little game plan before the interview, even with all the artists, I don't really want you to answer the questions.
Well, plus we threw half a mile already.
Yeah, well, we're winging this one. We're two radio guys. We can do this. You're not nervous.
Exactly.
I was more nervous than you are every time, every single time. Well, here's another song. Now, you like to have a little wordplay with your titles. The last one was More Jim, Less Jack.
I do, yeah, More Jim, Less Jack. This was actually an Instagram post. I saw I don't even know who it was on my Instagram feed, some attractive girl standing in, knee-deep in the ocean in a bikini with her arms up, and the caption was Long Time No See, S-E-A.
Okay.
And I said, "Wow,
that's it." Yeah.
Well, the sentiment was right too, because I mean, this was a miserable winter we just all went through. I mean, it was cold, it was long, it was gray, it was wet, all these things. So all winter long, how many of people sat around going, "God, I can't wait for summer. Can't wait for that warm weather."
And then everyone complained when it
came.
came.
When it gets warm. So I mean, I was among those people, and so that's when I saw that post, A Long Time No See. I said, "That's a great sentiment," because that's how I spent the whole winter.
Right.
Was waiting for this.
To see anything.
To stand there and with my feet in the water and look out at the sea. So that was what this song is about. So.
Yeah, up north, going above. That's cool.
And this song is brand new. I mean, I literally wrote it this weekend. So.
Oh, okay. So this is the debut.
This is the world debut.
No
as a matter of fact,
heard this.
Does Kenny Chesney watch this show?
He might.
All right, Kenny,
Chris
if you're
Jansen
watching,
might too.
This song's for you.
Kenny Chesney, this guy in Rochester, might be watching.
the other Kenny Chesney.
Right.
Far too long. It's been way too cold. These Michigan winters are getting old. I can't remember when I've been anywhere. Doctor says I'm depressed and I could use a good night's rest. What I really need is some salt in the air. 'Cause it's been too long since I buried my toes in the sand. Spent all day working on my tan. It's been a while since I closed my eyes. Heard the breeze whisper in the palm trees. Flip-flops slapping on a white beach. Hot girl bringing a cold drink to me. Long time no see. I booked an Airbnb with an ocean view. Drove south till the map turned blue. Got a big old dose of vitamin D. Stood in the water with waves crashed in. Arms outstretched like a long-lost friend, saying, where have you been? Long time no see. Yes, it's been too long since I buried my toes in the sand. Spent all day working on my tan. Yes, it's been a while since I closed my eyes. Heard the breeze whisper through a palm tree. Flip-flops slapping on a white beach. Hot girl bringing a cold drink to me. Long time no see. She sells seashells by the seashore motel, and I might stay another week. I think the cure for the blues just might be her and the deep blue sea. 'Cause it's been too long since I buried my toes in the sand. Spent all day working on my tan. Yeah, it's been a while since I closed my eyes and heard the breeze whisper on the palm trees. Flip-flops slapping on a white beach. Hot girl bringing a cold drink to me. Long time no see.
It's almost like you're playing 3 instruments with that tablet.
Yeah, you gotta sit there. If I don't remember the words, I've got to kind of scroll around and look for them over here. So it's a skill.
Well, there's such catchy tunes. Does it take you 10 minutes to write a song? And that's not, just because it seems like it just comes to you.
That song, it probably took me an hour to write most of it. And then it took me the rest of the weekend to write the rest of it. So once I kind of get the outline of it, then I go back and I fiddle with it. I still fiddle with it. I mean, that may completely change.
Sure. That was the first time you ever played it.
That's the first time I ever played it, yeah.
Speaking of playing it elsewhere, you got any shows coming up?
I've got a busy week in Nashville next week. I do our WOMC morning show Wednesday. Hop on the 12 o'clock flight to Nashville. Land at about 1 o'clock in Nashville, and I've got a 9:15 round at a place called the Millennium Maxwell House Hotel. So if you got anybody who's going to be in Nashville, come on by at 9:15. It's plenty of parking, and it's free admission. Great songs. I got like 4 rounds in a row. We're the last round of the night. 4 of us, a couple friends of mine and me are going to put the show on. And that's a writer's round. It's true Nashville. We go down the line and we talk about the songs we wrote. Every song you hear is an original. Sometimes you get really lucky and you get the song that you recognize from the guy who wrote it, which I always think is really cool. So that's Wednesday night. Then Thursday night, I'm driving out to a place called White Bluff to Salt and Pepper, which is a great writer's round out there. It's about an hour outside of Nashville. I'm doing a round there at about, I think, 7. And then on Sunday is a really cool one. There's a place on Broadway, which is where, if you go to Nashville, that's like Las Vegas.
That's the tourist
That's
spot.
the tourist spot.
Yeah.
It's up and down. There's great bars, rooftops, every bar, every floor, live bands, live music.
All covers.
All covers. You'll very rarely hear an original, which is kind of a shame because that's what Nashville's all about, is songwriting. So what this is called Hidden Nashville, and it's that bit of Nashville you won't see if you stay on Broadway, except for this show. It's the only show on Broadway that's designed for just original music.
Where's that at again?
And that's at the Whiskey Bent Saloon, which is right next to Old Red, which is Blake Shelton's place.
Perfect.
On Broadway, and it is Sunday morning, this coming week from Sunday. I'll be, well, it's there this Sunday. If you're in town, go by this Sunday at 8 or at 10 o'clock. But a week from Sunday, I'll be there doing that show from 8 till noon. And that's a showcase, so it's just me for like a half hour doing like songs like this.
It's so nice to actually know what you're talking about, because since the last time I talked to you, I was like planning to go. Never went. Finally, I went, so I know what you're talking about finally.
Well, then you sent me a note. You say, are you in Nashville? And I go, no. And you go, I am. Well, come on. We got to figure this out when we're at the same time.
Yeah, I still use your place if I go.
Yeah, it's just right there. It's right there. It's right there in downtown. So I'm 2 blocks from
I don't have a key.
Red.
That's the problem.
Yeah, sorry about that. Sorry. Well, seriously, my place is your place. Mi casa es su casa.
All right. Cool. But when you do these writers' rounds, how many people from Michigan would you say?
You know, there are a ton. You're talking about the people on the writers' rounds. I mean, people who live or travel tonight. There are a ton of those.
Well, the reason I ask is because I remember a while ago, a friend of mine, Ray Williams, another love of the show, sent a picture of the two of you at somewhere.
Yeah, that was
Nashville,
actually at
and
the
I know
Commodore.
she does those as well. So.
That was the Commodore, which is at the Holiday Inn on right next to Vanderbilt. Great place for live music. I'll probably play there, if not this time, at least next time I go down.
Which is funny because you sent me a text. Where are you?
Yeah, where are you? we were in Nashville
a week early.
Yeah, but there are a ton of Michiganders who go down there on a regular basis. I mean, guys like Greg Stryker, who I know we had on the show here.
Oh yeah.
Brent Moreau, I think Brent may already have moved there. I sent him a note the other day.
Was moving. I don't know if he
Well,
did.
I sent him a note the other day and said, "Are you living in Nashville yet?" He hasn't answered me, which I take as a yes, because that's what happens when you move there. You stop talking to us.
We'll find Brent.
Yeah,
we'll get Brent.
Because I'd love to write with Brent because I love what he's doing. He's got that Eric Church thing going.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I'd love to
Actually,
write with
you know, he's the first one that ever got recommended to me. My cousin knows him personally.
Yeah.
And he was like, you know, hey, you're trying to do this local thing. What about this guy named Brett Nero? I'm like, okay.
And so, you know, what's cool is you see a town like this where people kind of come up and they start shining a little bit. Well, that's the next stop is to go to Nashville. So I know a lot of guys who are making that trek on a regular basis, which I used to do before I bought a place there. You know, 5 years ago, I used to go like every year or two, and I'd go down there for something. But I started learning you have to be present to win. If you're going to really be in that game, being there sometimes is good. Being there all the times is great. Being there most of the time is pretty good. So I've kind of created an image that a lot of people don't know I don't live there.
And that's actually, I'm glad you said that because I stress that point a lot with a lot of the artists. Like, it doesn't matter what you're doing here. You need to go to Nashville.
You got to go to Nashville.
You got to go.
Yeah.
And I know that R.J. Harper, I don't know, he's on the up and up for sure right now. Right. And I remember sitting down at a Coney Island and telling him, just go to Nashville.
Go to Nashville.
Spend a little bit of time.
I mean, look at Ryan
be okay
Hurd.
with it. Just let him go.
I mean, look at Ryan Hurd came out of mid-Michigan, Western Michigan, and if he hadn't gone to Nashville, he'd be Ryan Hurd of mid-Michigan. And that's just that's what happens. I mean, no matter how good you are, you know, you get to be really good where you are, which is great. Somebody like Jill Jack, for instance. I mean, Jill has got a huge audience here in town. If she wanted to go to Nashville, she's already got a good leg up because she brings a fan base with her.
Sure.
But you got to eventually be in Nashville, and they will pay attention to people who bring a big fan base with them from wherever they're from. You know, I'm in a different category. I'm not trying to be a singer because, you know, guys my age, I don't think are going to get a job as a singer in this town.
But you got a passion for it and you love it.
I do, and I can write, and I think I can write, and that is what my passion is, to write a song, to get it to an artist who will cut it, and to me, that's the win.
So this next song you're about to play, is this a brand new single as well? Because you brought a CD with you. We never even talked about it. What's this?
Yeah, well, these last two songs, that one that I just did, Long Time No See, we just wrote this week, so it's not on my album. This one's not either, because I only wrote that. This is called T-Shirt Songs.
All right.
And I wrote this because I wanted every title to look like you could put on a T-shirt.
But your shirt's off.
So it's like more Jim, less Jim. I don't have a T-shirt. But it looks like I'm being chased by the sheriff.
You look like, when I saw that earlier today before we went live, I thought it was Steve Grunwald from our morning show. And I'm like, what is this?
God, no. Help me, please. I love Steve.
He just gets up and walks away.
So I have more Jim, less Jack on there. It's always sunny in my head. I mean, you know, the songs you can see on a T-shirt. And matter of fact, the last song on here is called My Hero First, which would go great on a T-shirt, but it is not a fun song. Matter of fact, this was a song that you had done by Randy Jack in the studio.
Okay.
Here a couple of weeks ago.
He's due to come on pretty soon as well.
Yeah, so Randy actually cut that song, and it's on his album too.
Really
but
cool.
This is a song I wrote called My Hero First. So that's all T-shirt songs without
Awesome.
a T-shirt.
Well, the next song we got here, though, is called Redneckit.
Redneckit, I wrote this with a guy named Kenneth Wright. And Kenneth wrote a song called "You Had to Be There." That's on it's on a Tim McGraw album and on a Kenny Rogers album. He got cut by both of them, and he's written with Chris Janson. He's on a couple of Chris Janson albums and stuff like that. So, see, one thing I'm trying to move up in the ranks of writers, so I'm writing with people who actually know what they're doing.
Sure. Well, I mean, for someone like me, you've always been a good songwriter, but how in the last 2 years since the last time you've been on, how much do you think it's improved?
My songwriting is probably 100%. I think I'm like a twice better songwriter than I was 2 years ago.
That's cool.
And that's just from spending more time in Nashville and listening to what they're doing, paying attention to what they're doing, and stop thinking I know what I'm doing. At that point where you stop thinking you know what you're doing and that you ought to listen.
You never stop learning.
You never stop.
And it's hard to sometimes think like that because you do. You like by nature, you just kind of, I got this. But sometimes you just open your ears.
You just open. Well, this song, as it's called, about opening my ears. I was sitting in Kenneth's apartment downtown Nashville, and we were working on another song, and he said something, and I went, Kenneth, did you just say Redneckit? And he goes, no. I said, are you sure? He goes, no, I didn't. I said, what'd you say? I said, I don't know, but it wasn't Redneckit. I mean, who says that? I said, I know, but that sounds really good. So we started talking about this idea of Redneckit, and he's a good old North Carolina boy, so he was, very Southern about things. He goes, well, naked, you know what naked is when you take your clothes off. Naked is when you mean it. Redneckit takes it to a whole nother level. So, I got you thinking about that, didn't I?
Yeah.
So with the hot weather we've been having lately, this is a perfect song called Redneckit. Dust cloud growing, coming up the drive. Heading for the pool out past the double wide. Dial on the dash reads 95 degrees. Bunch of good people just trying to beat the heat. Shucking off their clothes just as fast as they can, and like the good Lord made them, they're jumping on in, getting redneckit. Red, 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 naked. No SPF and no tan lines, and everybody's burning where the sun don't shine, getting red. Naked. Red, 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 red. Naked. You got your Carhartt coveralls and camo Crocs. If you're going in, it's all coming off. Lose the Daisy Dukes and cowboy boots. Don't need nothing but your birthday suit. Bobbing for Coors Light down in the deep end, playing Marco Polo. Everybody's peeking, getting red. Naked. Red, 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 red. Naked. No SPF and no tan lines, and everybody's burning where the sun don't shine, getting red. Naked. Red, 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 red. Naked. Kid Rock blasting on the speakers, and Bubba's doing belly flops and nothing but his sneakers, getting red. Naked. Red, 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 red. Naked. No SPF and no tan lines, and everybody's burning where the sun don't shine, getting red. Naked. Red, 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 red. Naked. Yeah, the dust cloud's growing and it's coming up the drive. Heading for the pool out past the double wide. Where everybody's getting red. Naked. Red, 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 red. Naked.
One thing I gotta say about that song is I guarantee everyone that just saw it is gonna have that stuck in their head.
I'm hoping.
Yeah, that's the plan.
That's the plan.
I already do.
And by the way, I like to cast the video in my head because I'm constantly, working on shooting videos in my head. And I'm sorry I missed Faster Horses because I could have cast that whole thing.
Yeah, you could have.
I just that day
Absolutely.
just going, I could have said you.
But speaking of Faster Horses, I got one last question for you.
Right.
In lieu of the weekend finally happening, it's done. If you were to book a festival like that, Stephen Clark Presents, whatever, what 5 artists would you put on? It doesn't matter who they are. It doesn't ranging any.
I got to tell you right now, Chris Jansen is one of my absolute favorites. That guy is so energetic. I mean, he gets up there and just brings it. I don't think he leaves a drop of sweat behind.
I love Chris Jansen. When he plays that harmonica,
I know.
It's just the arm. You see it go down. You see the energy coming out of it.
Everything about him. And I love a guy who just, I don't know if he likes his job or not. I think he absolutely loves his job. Just watching him.
One of the coolest things about him too is that I've gotten like backstage, to meet and greet photo or whatever. Not so much an interview with him, maybe one time, but every time I've seen him though, he's called me out by name.
That's great.
Chris Jansen is like, Frank.
Hey.
I'm like,
he knows me. So Chris Jansen, that'd be like number 1 on the list. And I think Kenny Chesney, just because same reason. He just leaves nothing behind. I love a guy who goes out there and just gives you it all. And he's got such a huge catalog of hits.
Yeah.
So Kenny Chesney, I'd put on a show. Plus, you'd get the babes there too, which would be handy.
For sure. Kenny's the only broadtree I've ever seen on a stage so far. At all the concerts that I've been to working for WYCD, he's got the only broadtree.
Casey Musgraves, I love her writing.
Oh, yeah.
So I think just because her writing is just so spectacular, I'd get her on the show. Got 2 more to fill here. I'd go a little old school. I think Toby Keith.
Okay.
Toby Keith. I love Toby Keith.
He was just at Faster Horses.
I know.
He did. He was one of the best I heard.
And
last night.
And then if Keith Urban couldn't make it, I would fill in for him.
So you just would do Faster Horses.
That'd be my 5 right there.
A little other lineup. That's cool though. So we got Chris Jansen, Casey Musgraves, Keith Urban,
Kenny Chesney,
Kenny Chesney, and Toby Keith.
Yeah,
that's cool. I'd go to that concert. Yeah. That's sweet.
I think it'd be a good show.
That's awesome.
And there's some new guys coming up, but I like to give them a little time to season because I like the ones who. Chris Jansen, I guess, is the newest of that bunch. Maybe Luke Combs. I could put him on that list too.
Yeah,
Luke Combs, great stuff.
Out of all the names you just added or just mentioned, which one of the 5 would you want to perform a song with the most?
I think probably Chesney. Because I think he's Hall of Fame kind of guy. He's GOAT. He's the greatest of all time kind of material.
And the stuff he'd tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And plus he's got a boat down in the islands. So I think maybe he'd invite me or something.
That'd be nice. Caribbean. Yeah, this little pirate boat. That'd be sweet.
Yeah. I'd go down there and he would take Redneckit and make it a hit. And I think my life would be good.
Well, if you go to Nashville, say hello to Stephen Clark's house. Apparently he has the keys somewhere outside.
It's hidden outside the door.
It's part of the game. When you go down there to say, I'm going to your house, he says, okay.
Okay, you got to find the keys.
You're on your own after that. But will you ever come back on the show again for the 3rd time?
Whenever you invite me, I'm here, and I'll have some new songs, too.
That was a lot of fun, man.
Some new songs. And come see me in Nashville. If you're down there again, I'll be there a week after next, which is the 31st through like the 5th or 6th.
And let's not forget, you're on every single morning, 5 a.m. until 10.
I am. But unfortunately, there's that Grunwald guy and Edwards.
I'll still promote you. Everyone knows we're WYCD, but
But the bosses don't care because we're all in the same building. They don't care who they're listening to as long as it's one of us.
Well, hopefully, I don't even know if they know that you're on the shit, to be honest.
You'll be getting that call from Robert shortly.
Why would you cross-promote like that?
What's up with that?
Well, let's see, Steve. We should get like an all-star cast of all the morning shows. Just come do like a We Are the World kind of song.
I'd do it. Sign me up. I'm here. I don't know how Stoney from The Ticket sings, but hey.
I don't know how I would sing. I'm more worried about myself, but I'd participate. I'll give you that. Stephen Clark, thanks so much for joining me.
I appreciate it.
I look forward to the next time. Spencer and Joe, thanks for joining us.
Thanks
Spencer,
for being here.
Wait, by the way, Stephen, where's your shirt at? I know I gave you
one. You gave me a Frank Williams drinking team shirt when we were at the Hoedown.
Yeah.
I was going to wear it today. I actually put it in my mind that day. I'm going to wear that T-shirt. And then I just like the last time. Remember what happened last time at Christmas? What I was supposed to do?
You're supposed to wear the Santa suit.
I was supposed to wear a Santa suit. You came dressed
as an elf with the big ears and the stupid hat. And I'm like, yeah, I'll dress like an elf, but you got to dress like Santa.
He showed up, and I showed up just looking like this, except shaved.
And they had fun with it. Did you ever watch that video? They had fun with it. They had fun with it. Ryan remembers that.
Yeah.
Special thanks to Ryan and Annie in the back there.
Good job.
The video and audio. You guys are amazing.
Can I record my next album in here?
All right. Yeah. Done. So first time you got hired, now you're recording a new album.
I'm recording a new album. I need backup. You guys bring a guitar.
Now, I forgot that today. You forgot the shirt, I forgot the guitar.
Yeah.
Next time, I promise, we'll play a song together.
All right.
How's that? Sounds
good.
We're live every Tuesday at Music Town Detroit for the Homegrown Happy Hour, which is inside the Hockey Town Cafe downtown Detroit. I'm Frank Williams Jr. If you're local and you want to send me music, send it to my email, frankjrradio@gmail.com. That being said, see y'all next week. Hey!